So what's up, guys? I got my man Fernando here from Seller Tradecraft, the legend himself. He is going to hook you up with all the goods, man. All the things that you guys want to know about scaling, about having an efficient business, because me and Dan are just two dudes. They have a whole team of people. They have a whole business. They have a whole army behind them to help them do what they do.
Selling on Amazon has absolutely changed our lives. You want to know something? We're going to help you guys get there too.
All these people are talking about wanting to sell you a lifestyle. We're here to sell you a life.
Right. So if you guys are trying to get to the $1 million level, the multi-million dollar level, these are the people that you need to talk to. Okay. They are super focused on their business. They know all the ins and outs of Amazon. They know things that I've never even seen before. All right. So if you guys are really trying to do the legit money the right way, not retail arbitrage and do $1 million in sales, but make like $10,000 for the year, you guys need to listen to, Fernando. He knows exactly what he's talking about. Real cool dude. So, Fernando, welcome, man.
Thanks
for coming.
That's a hell of an introduction. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So guys, obviously, Fernando is the king when it comes to FBA. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the whole FBA game, how, Seller Tradecraft kind of came to be and get to the level where you guys are at now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. So, me and my business partner, Nick, we're really best friends from college. We worked in corporate for a little bit, hated it, to be honest. Then we both went to the same tech company. We worked together for a year. Sadly, that company failed, basically just huge implosion. It was a good experience though. But we went off, we built separate companies for about 2 years, which was really cool. It's a great learning experience. And then, we came back together wanting to build a business. Since we were such close friends, we knew that we worked well together since we had worked at the first startup. And so we started looking at, different businesses. A ton of our friends were in e-commerce. And so we knew as business guys that it made way more sense than going back into tech. And so, we spent the first 5-6 months, learning the ins and outs of e-commerce, trying to build our own Shopify. And we realized it was a lot harder than we thought. And basically when we forecasted out how long it would take us to get back to our old standard of living, it was 18 months. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to run out of money in 18 months. There's no way. And yeah, man. So we kind of switched, pivoted from Shopify to okay, let's create products. And we were looking at Kickstarter, and then we were looking at selling stuff on eBay. And then, Nick brought up a really good point, which was well, why would we sell on eBay if we're buying everything on Amazon? I was like, that's a great question. And so, yeah, man, we found a course online, we hired a coach, shout out to Anthony Lee. He helped us a ton, starting out. And yeah, man, I mean, now it's been 4.5 years. It's been crazy. We're well into the 8 figures. We'll do probably about 30 this year. And yeah, we have a good team, like you mentioned, 65 employees, which seems like a ton, and it is a lot. But it's really, really helped us scale. And so that's, I think, what we're overall really good at. But yeah, and then you asked about Seller Tradecraft. So in the last maybe about 1.5 years, we partnered with one of our really close friends, Anthony Bui-Tran, who we know through the $1 Million Sellers group. And yeah, we became really close friends. We actually hung out and partied in New York, and that's how we became friends. And yeah, so we joined as partners in Seller Tradecraft. So we've been really building out a big community around private label and scaling and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of the story.
Oh man, so you were like the rest of us. You tried the corporate thing, didn't necessarily like it, and now you get to wake up whenever you feel like it, and you make millions of dollars every year. So your business model, FBA it can be cost prohibitive for some people. Mm-hmm. How would you recommend someone getting into FBA get over that hump? Because you do have to have capital, and obviously we know people are always saying, oh, you only need $500 to get into FBA, which is a lie. But right. How would someone overcome that that obstacle, getting into FBA and actually building a brand?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I do not think that you can make it in this business anymore with $500. I hear those stories every so often. Other models, yeah, very, very possible. Like private label, I don't see that. Or at least our FBA private label. I would say personally, I would probably start with at least 7,500. That's just me, knowing what I know. But in terms of how you would get that money, I think, private label drop shipping is a great way. RA is a great way, flipping books, maybe even wholesale to build up your understanding of Amazon, to also build up cash flow. Honestly, it's not embarrassing to say, but a lot of people don't know, but we actually drove for Uber in the beginning, to make extra cash when we were running out of money, because we were reinvesting everything into inventory. And so honestly, we weren't down to go back to working for somebody else. That was something that we both were really committed to doing, was building our own company. So we drove probably 4 nights a week. Not Fridays and Saturdays because we love partying, but Monday through Thursday, we were driving for Uber in the evenings and stuff, taking drunk kids around, whatever. It helped us and then got us to where we are now. And then you can always borrow money from parents or family and friends. I do think we've done that too. So I think that's really helped us scale. But yeah, overall, those are some of the things that I would look at.
So you mentioned RA. Have you guys ever done RA, or you just that's just not?
Good question. So when we first started and we were waiting for our products to arrive, and this is really, really early, we were really bored. We didn't have that much to do. And we, so this is around when Radio Shack was closing down a lot of the stores. And then I had this brilliant idea, oh man, Radio Shack is closing down. We should go buy a bunch of clearance stuff and just make some more money so we can reinvest more in inventory. It just ended up, for us, it was a pain and a distraction. We didn't realize that certain brands were restricted. So we bought some cases and they weren't we weren't able to sell them. So we eventually had to let them go on eBay. And honestly, at a certain point, which wasn't even fun to deal with. And our Amazon business, our private label FBA business was taking off so fast that it didn't even make sense to really worry about. But I do think you're talking about how we scaled. I think one of the biggest things that lesson taught us was focus. And then so it's you can try to make $5 here and then $10 here and then $100 here, but if you're always hustling that, it's really distracting, and everybody thinks that they can multitask super, super well, and it's proven that people can't. And so I think that was one of the big things that we really learned was okay, we need to figure out which is the best model. And we at the time really believed and I still do think long term building a brand in private label is really, really strong. And so that's kind of the route that we decided to focus on.
So you hear that, guys? They were not doing online arbitrage, they were doing in-person arbitrage, which is within Amazon's terms of service. Another way, which is against Amazon's terms of service. Okay, so remember that, guys. Remember that. But what you did mention about brand building, and that's super important. I try to stress that to people, that building a brand is the only way that you're going to survive for the long term. Online arbitrage, what's commonly referred to as retail arbitrage. You can make money, but the longevity, something that you guys do, something that we do with a private label, it's not something that is going to be sustainable for most people. So how did you guys go about building up your brand, your product line, and getting your name out there so people can recognize you? It's basically almost like a household name of sorts on Amazon.
Totally. Yeah, man. I mean, so and I'll walk through kind of our approach to private label and kind of what we do. So we test a ton of products. So in the beginning, the brand truthfully is not super important to us. We try to launch maybe 8 new SKUs to 10 new SKUs a month that are not expansion of our other products. These are completely new to us. And so we're just learning to see. We're ordering for us maybe 2,000 to 2,500 units. That's a lot for someone just starting out. But we're making these calculated bets and then seeing which ones do well. like a good percentage of them will do well. And then we'll like launch a ton more. And then that's when we start focusing on like really building out the brand. And when I say like a brand for me, like, obviously like the name is important, like, having a website and a trademark is important for brand registry and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'm not like really trying to build social media like stuff. I'm not trying to build like a website. I'm not trying to build a Shopify. Like, I just want it to look, like, have like the perception that this is a real brand. Like, I want this to like, be like, the strongest, like, it looks like a great pets brand, for instance. I'm just making it as an example, but that doesn't mean that I'm like, just reinvesting in August. Again, it's like all about focus. And I don't think that the most customers are going to go and Google your pet's brand and see how strong your Instagram following is or your Facebook page, all that kind of stuff. So it's really targeted towards the perception of a brand on Amazon.
See, guys, you heard it from the man himself. Building a brand is really, really important for longevity. It doesn't have to be what we've done with Speed Circuit, having a physical location, having a shop and all that stuff, and website and Instagram and everything else, right? Doesn't have to be all that. Does it help? Definitely helps. But you don't have to do that. You can build a brand strictly on Amazon, play by the rules, and people will take notice. And then once you guys get registered brand status, you can get your storefront, which looks really, really nice. Zal Nutrition is a very good example. If you guys want to go check one out, they kill it. They make millions every single month. Now, I'm not into the nutrition thing. Well, you guys know I lift and do all that stuff, but I'm not going to sell nutrition products because I'm not trying to get sued. Like, I don't do ingestibles. But, as you guys heard, having a brand is very, very important. So now that you're at this level, you guys are making multi-millions a year. You guys are doing multi-millions a year in sales. How did you go from, your small, couple man team to building out the infrastructure that you have now? Like, how much time are you putting in the beginning compared to what you're putting in now that you have all your employees? Yeah, man.
That's a great question. I would say that, pretty consistently we worked about 40 hours a week, 40 to 45 hours a week. I think what really shifted was like, I think for the first like 3 years, we had no more than like, I would say like 10 people at any point in time, maybe 10, 12 people. And so I think, one of the interesting things about us is that like in like year 2, we actually like really started struggling. Like we're doing like, I don't know, maybe 7 million a year, but we were like hovering around break even, which is really, really weird.
Yeah, that is super weird.
And so, what we realized is that we weren't really good at like tracking the numbers. So we weren't like really, like we had certain products that were super, super profitable that were just like plummeting because we weren't really paying attention and we were so focused on new products that it was hard. And basically every time that we received like our financial statement from like our outside bookkeepers, it was almost like a report card. You're just like, oh crap, I did not do well. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like that feeling where like, oh, I should have studied more. Like it was like that kind of feeling like, oh man, we should have like sold more or we should have lowered our expense. And so it was like a really crappy feeling. And so what we ended up having to do, which was super, super hard, but like, honestly, maybe like the best thing that we've ever done was we had to lay off a lot of our US employees. And then, but we were still like responsible for doing all the work that they were doing. And so I had this kind of like epiphany, like crap, like, okay, well, we can't afford all these people in the US. But if we just spend enough time interviewing, we can for sure find people like almost as good, like in the Philippines. It'll be way, way cheaper. And we can really start like augmenting everything that we do. And dude, honestly, it was like super transformative. Like we like really started, I spent like probably like at the time, like 30% of my time. So like about like 15 hours a week, probably just crushing through interviews and just like hiring inventory planners, like logistics people, like people that I knew would pay for themselves. Because if we just like, we're out of stock less, or if we sent more sea shipments instead of air shipments, those employees would pay, like they would pay for themselves. And dude, we brought on like really key people there, like super, super talented people. And that was like the massive growth driver in terms of like, now our bestsellers are not out of stock. We're not sending stuff by air. Like they're consolidating our shipments. And so that helped, like, I think that was like growth spurt 1. And that got us to like, maybe 15 to 20 employees. And then the massive, massive growth spurt was when I realized that, man, I'm spending 30% of my time like, I need an HR manager. So we brought in an HR manager in charge of recruiting, and dude, she just skyrocketed the company. We went from like, maybe like 17 to like 65 people in a year. And dude, like our revenue like jumped up, our profitability jumped up, like everything like was just getting done better. And that's when we really learned how to become like executives and like build teams and like set initiatives. And like that was like kind of what happened over the last like year and a half, 2 years.
Wow. So also something that you mentioned about sea shipping versus air shipping, because we're the door-to-door type. We're like, just get it to Amazon, send that stuff by air, because we generally try to find products that are, fairly cheap enough to send that way. Now with heavier products, like you obviously can't, you have to send them by sea, and, they take forever, and you got a freight forwarder and all that good stuff. What percentage would you say you guys send by sea as compared to air? Obviously your business has not had any kind of hiccups going by sea, but for someone who's starting off, like how would they overcome the sea shipping and the freight forwarding, with them not knowing the logistics behind it? Because, they are new.
Yeah, it's a great question. Okay, so first one is like percentage wise, I would say like 95% is ocean now. The only time that we'll really do air is like if it's like we're gonna run out of stock and then it's like at around break even, so like we should send it by air to not lose sales rank. And then two is like if we're really excited about a new product and we're just like we need to get this launched, I think it's going to be like time sensitive, then we'll send stuff by air. Besides that, everything is like ocean. And then in terms of like navigating, I would definitely look at like getting a freight forwarder. Whether it's for air or ocean, honestly, they just make life a lot easier. From our experience, like we've seen like really the best pricing with Chinese freight forwarders actually over US ones. I think it's just a factor of labor cost. So I definitely recommend like looking at like overseas freight forwarders because they'll take care of pretty much everything.
Nice. See, guys, you're learning all the tips, man. You guys are learning straight, from the man himself. So if you can't make money, I can't help you on that one, because he is helping you out right now. So a lot of people, come with the product research, right? That's probably one of the most asked questions, throughout the day, at least for us. And it's always the same thing, they're like, well, this person says, find something this big that fits inside of a shoebox and weighs less than like 2 pounds or something like that. And, our thought is that's not always what works. Sometimes you want to do something a little different because you can make more money with a different, product, in a different niche that may not be as light, which in turn, we end up having to send by sea because it would be too expensive to send by air. What recommendations do you have for product research so these people aren't caught up? They're not hung up on the whole, hey, well, this YouTuber said fit it inside of a shoebox and it has to be this and this and this and this, because that's just not true.
Right. Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I don't like the idea of only like limiting yourself to these super small weight, light products that fit in a shoebox. Look, I think in terms of choosing products, it's all about margin. Like, don't get married to a product. I think so many people are like, they get fixated on this one product and they get the first like 3 quotes and none of them work, and then they get another 5 quotes and it doesn't work, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna find the sourcing agent and they're gonna get another 20 quotes and none of them work. I'm like, dude, like in that time you could have just like, I would get the first 3 or 5 quotes, and then if it doesn't work, then like just don't get married to it, like move on. But at the end of the day, like a lot of people are looking for scale to get the numbers to work, and it's just a terrible strategy, to be honest. I'm looking at the competition. Like, I want to make sure, ideally, that they're not like completely dominating the category already. Like, if you're going to go like into battery packs and then you were to compete against Anchor, like that's not a good idea. Like, they are amazing sellers. They know exactly. Zao Nutrition, you mentioned them. Like, you're going into their category, it's going to be hard. They're already dominating it. Like, they know what they're doing. I would go after like listings where the seller, there's less available options, or the sellers don't look that sophisticated. Maybe they have bad images, or they have bad keywords, bad titles, like all that kind of stuff. And I'd find a way to differentiate. Like a lot of people think that Amazon products need to be super innovative, like the next Kickstarter item. That's totally wrong. Like, truthfully, like very, very few of our products are original, like in terms of like not being private label, but just think of creative ways to bundle it. Like maybe add in something that you just give away for free, but like would be helpful with your product. You could do like a 2-pack sometimes when that like makes sense. Changing colors, like small changes, like, but like, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, really trying to create these new features or new ways to use it or new materials. And truthfully, I think that's going to be way harder in terms of getting started. And I think like you want to just get a win on the board, show that like this Amazon model works. And then it's way easier for you to get like, you know, friends and family on board to like let you borrow money and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, don't try to invent something brand spanking new. Just try to get something that you're confident is going to sell because you're offering a better value at the same price or similar price.
So you guys, so stop getting married to products. Stop getting hooked on that Goldilocks product, because it's very rare that there's a Goldilocks product. You kind of have to just make it work, okay? Like in most cases, you can make it work. Now, you might not do $1 million with that one product, but more often than not, you can make some money with it if you're creative.
Right.
I always say bundle, and you guys don't want to listen. You're like, well, nah, that's stupid. That's a terrible idea. Terrible idea, you say. Heard it from the man. Like, he just told you, do it. You know, I don't know why you guys wouldn't. Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, so there's that. Now you also mentioned that there's, you know, like bad keywords and all this stuff. How should these people look at their titles and bullet points and all this? You know, because I've seen some that just, it's like they ripped them straight from Alibaba and they just put them in there. I'm like, really? Like, you guys aren't even going to take the time to cultivate that and do something better?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, I mean, so there's like, I mean, Amazon's constantly changing. So probably by the time that we release this video, we'll have changed.
It's gonna have changed.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, overall, like, yeah, you want to look at the competitors' listings, of course. You want to, you know, you want to be strategic. Like, you want the most important keywords to be in the front. Like, the title is huge part of, like, you know, getting indexed, like, specifically for your products. So, like, you know, if you're selling a garlic press, I love this example, but you want, like, garlic press, like, right in the front. Some people like putting the brand in the front. I think that's irrelevant. Truthfully, people probably haven't heard of your brand, so it's not like they're going to recognize it. So yeah, I would probably put that at the back. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, I would definitely use some of the good keyword tools out there. Like, you know, Zonwords is great. Like, I know Seller Tools is great, Helium 10, like all those guys. Like, Merchant Words is like on the cheaper side, but can like help you. But like, use one of those tools to get, like, you know, the actual like search volume. I think that's super important.
Yes.
And then you can also like use those tools to see like where your competitors are ranked a lot of the time, and then that way you can kind of come up with a really nice like title. But I would like you mentioned, I would not just go rip something off Alibaba. Like, I would actually really spend time on your backend keywords, your title, and all that kind of stuff, because it's super important for getting indexed.
See, you guys got to do it right. Do it once. You can actually make some money for a change. Jesus. You know, so, you know, we'll wrap up with this. Do you feel that Amazon FBA is viable for the average person? You know, is selling on Amazon something that the average person can do, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I don't think that we're like much smarter than like anybody else out there. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, you have to just be willing to test and try. Like, so many people, you know, are in the kind of lurking around the Facebook groups. They're not really committed. They're kind of splitting time between this and maybe like writing their Kindle book or whatever, like, you know, that they're kind of like looking at, and they're not really committed. But like, if you set like a timeline, like, okay, I'm going to place my first purchase order in the next 60 days. And I'm going to, like, you know, come in after work, go home, I'm going to like eat dinner, and I'm going to like look for products for 2 hours a day, and you really commit to doing it, like, you will find a way. Like, you will get some sales. Might not be profitable. You will see, like, I mean, if you really like do the research. You like, find like a good mentor, like someone that can like really help you choose the right product. Like you will sell product and you will just like really believe in the business model. And I think that's all you really need. Once you have a product selling, then it's all about fine tuning and like all that kind of stuff you learn after every product that you launch. But like to answer your question, anybody can do this. Like actually, I just had like a family friend reach out the other day, and she was asking me like personally, like, okay, is it too late, blah, blah, blah. And like, look, our projections are to go like, much past 30 million, like, actually over 100. And so that means we need to like grow to like $70 million in more products that we need to launch every month. Like you could be taking some of those from us, and like anybody can do it. Like I really, really believe that like it's like the new gold rush, to be honest.
Oh yeah, Amazon is where it's at. I mean, there's more buyers than there are sellers, guys. Amazon does 50% of the U.S. market for e-commerce. Like, why would you not get on there? That's billions of dollars every single year. Why would you not want a piece of that? Mm-hmm. Why? I mean, I like money. I'm pretty sure you guys like money. Sell on Amazon.
Totally.
Do exactly what he said. Take the time to research. If you guys are trying to get an FBA right off the bat, research. Spend time committing to this. You have to commit. And if you guys are, kind of half in, half out, you're going to fail. And then, of course, we'll see you in the forums and, we'll see you in the Facebook groups, and you'll be complaining, saying that it doesn't work and it's terrible and we're scam artists and we're lying to you and this and that. I mean, this man is doing 30 million a year. You understand what that is? That's $30 million a year. I mean, a lot of people are not even making $30,000 a year, and they're doing 30 million. It works. Okay. It works on a massive scale. You just have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, man. Couldn't agree more.
So thank you for taking the time out, Fernando. Appreciate it so much. You're a busy man. I know you have other things to do instead of, try to get these people excited about selling on Amazon, which they should be. But thank you so much, man. It's always a good time to talk to you. You guys are crushing the game. I wish I could do 30 million a year, because that'd be great. But I'm like, I don't know how to scale like that.
Dude, yeah, you just gotta hire the right people, man. Honestly, that's like the biggest thing. Like if there's one takeaway, it's like one, or actually two. Get started. Two, and then as soon as you can, start building out a team. Like honestly, that's like the game changer.
Yeah, see, that's our problem, guys. We're still two dudes doing all this stuff. Like we got some VAs, but we don't have our team built, and that's the next stage for us. Like to really get to the next level, we have to sit down and build out our team, and kind of figure out where we want to head to. So you guys will be seeing more of that as we go through. Showcasing that story, how that goes, and maybe one day we're like, yeah, man, we did 10 mil this year.
Dude, it'll be sooner. It'll be faster than you know. Like honestly, it's the best.
So remember that, guys. But gotta let my man go. So you guys know what to do. Make sure you get into his group below. Check the YouTube channel, Seller Tradecraft. They got tons of useful information, people. All right, it's gonna help you. If you guys decide not to, that's on you. That's your own fault. I can't help you with that. I can't help you with with not wanting to get help. Get the links. The links are right there. Just click. All right. So I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. You already know what to do. Click the little subscribe button, notification bell, all that stuff. The boring YouTube stuff. All right. You guys know what to do. I'm gonna catch you in the next one.